Happy Arvo. Hello, thank you so much for joining me today for a video that I am quite excited to react to. Because it's a really cool idea for a video. It's like a little vlog about, my humbling day as a royal flying doctor. So just a couple of weeks ago, I reacted to this flying doctor service that y'all have down under, which was amazing. And now I'm going to get a little bit more of an intimate inside look, I feel like. Flying along with the pilot. I think he doesn't normally do this as a job, so it'll be his first time. It'll be super interesting, I think.
Pilots like me who
Go check out his channel, Stephen Drury. Link down below.
There are some pilots like me who fly planes for fun. There are some pilots who fly planes because it's their job.
That sounds like an expensive hobby.
And there are some people who fly planes because it actually saves lives.
I wonder how much these pilots get paid. It'd be interesting to know if they get paid more or less than like a normal commercial flying. I bet it's less, which makes it even more, just because it's all publicly funded, right? Through donations. Not publicly funded. It's funded through donations. So I don't think they might not get paid as much, which is just interesting. It makes it kind of even more of a noble career to do. That's a really cool mechanism. Get the stretcher out of the
Ruth,
plane.
how many million times have you done that?
Oh, too many to count, and I feel like it gets slower every time.
Beautiful
Ruth is our flight
plane.
nurse on the flight today. Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Thank you for looking after me and the patients today. You've got another patient basically to look after.
It's my pleasure.
The mission.
My only gripe with them is they need to change it to Royal Flying Nurses. Because that's the nurses are the ones that are up there flying around, aren't they? I don't think the doctors go along very often.
Hey, can you give us a quick idea of where we're actually going and what
Shout out to the flying nurses.
the objectives are?
Today we've got a full outbound flight, so we're leaving Melbourne with 3 passengers, and some of them are going home, back to the country where they're from, and some of them are going back to their local hospital. I've already rung all the hospitals to get details on all the patients we're taking with us, make sure they're safe to fly, make sure I've got everything ready for them, and then my job is to get them home safely.
Now the patients for the trip are being loaded onto the aircraft just
All right.
behind me at the moment. Obviously I'm not going to film that, and you won't see any patients in this video at all, just to respect the privacy of the people on board this aircraft. But
That
this
makes
is an
sense.
actual live flight. This isn't a demo flight they're doing
Wow.
just for me to fly here on YouTube with you. We have 3 patients on board today, all with different reasons for needing the Royal Flying Doctor service.
That's interesting. I didn't realize it would like go along like a train or a bus, making stops. All right, picking up that patient, that patient, that patient. That makes sense. That's a lot more efficient than just flying out to get one patient and coming back. Especially once the service became really, widely adopted. That's really cool.
Different reasons for needing to travel with us to the 3 airports that we're planning to land at today.
Okay, so he's not actually piloting the plane, which is probably, that makes sense. I don't think you can just walk in and pilot the Royal Flying Doctor plane. But I did think he was going to. Just to admit my stupidity. The first patient was a success. And in just minutes, they're off again.
Flight 56 rolls, runway 35 airborne, tracking for
It's like
Your turnaround on the ground.
the rush of an ambulance.
I know, it was incredibly quick. Is that normal? Do you normally have very little time to...
Yeah, we just turn around as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
So get going to the next one. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, then as a pilot you do, and you walk around, you've got your new flight plan in.
I mean, normally with a plane, or at least a commercial plane, it's super slow. You know what I mean? They're making sure everything, they're doing all the tests, they're blah, 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 blah. But that's cool. That with the ambulance in the sky, it's just, let's go.
And then you're just straight into the next flight after that point.
I'm already planned to into Swan Hill, coming up proper descent, put the secondary plan in for the next sector.
Yep.
When I taxi in, I'll activate that.
Looks just like the video
Load
games.
the patient
Yeah.
with the nurse, put the back, stretcher back in, shut the door, and off we go again.
So as pilots, we're always taught to think ahead of the aircraft, but you've got to think ahead of thinking ahead of the aircraft with that much workload.
You've got to think about the patient, the nurse, ATC, the weather, the lot.
So this is our second leg of 3. Well, there's going to be 4 flights,
flights, yeah.
4 flights, but second flight of 4 so far.
Yep.
And then we're off to after this, Tim. What's the next stop?
Next stop after this one is Mildura, and then after Mildura, back to Essendon.
Yeah, busy day for you.
I don't know where those places are, which I guess is why they're using the Flying Doctors, because it's usually like small towns, huh? Let's see.
Stop 2 of 4.
I want to see them
Stop
land on
2.
one of the, like the small, really rural landing strips that they kind of pop up for the
Of 4 then
planes.
today. We're down here in Horsham, an airport that I know quite well. We've flown to on the channel. If you've watched this channel for a while, you'd recognise Horsham. A long time ago since I've been here though, but we've just dropped off the second patient who's been picked up by the ambulance team on the ground here. The patient then gets transferred to either if they're going back home or if they're going to another hospital. In this instance, I believe they're heading back home again. Been talking to a couple of the patients on board as well, and the patient that we're taking to Mildura now after we've departed here from Horsham was telling me that they have a friend who also is receiving treatment in Melbourne who has to drive now basically back from Melbourne to Mildura. The
Oh
flight
my
here, even
God.
with 2 stops, is going to take about an hour.
That's why you need this service,
Drive now basically back from Melbourne
because I guess Melbourne is, you know, the nearest big hospital, and it's 6 hours away.
to Mildura. The flight here, even with 2 stops, is going to take about an hour and a half.
Wow,
All set in the back.
Yeah, all set.
amazing.
Saying good day, flight up to 50.
You know, I might try to skip ahead and try and find one of the landings
Parking air taxis. Horsham 4, Mildura runway 26.
to Mildura.
What altitude, Tim, for today? For this leg?
We're going. They're climbing up now to flight level 180.
180.
With so many choices on book.
And of course, I recommend you go watch the full video without me skipping
Traffic
around.
Mildura flight up to 56 and a half. King Air is 31 miles to the south inbound, just leaving 10,000. We estimate the Mildura circuit time 32. Tracking for Australian approach runway 36.
So many knobs.
Are you sure? Are you sure I can't do anything?
It looks like we may not be lucky enough to see one of the really rural landing strips in this video.
All right, good. I can do
I
that.
don't know yet, though. Oh, look at this.
See, I'm helping. helping.
It's definitely really cool to see all the equipment that's been retrofitted to a freaking airplane.
There is a bit of a height difference, isn't there? But that's right, because when you're getting in and out of that plane, you can. And
Yes.
I'm having to do today's flight. I think it's more about getting people back home again. So it's not so much picking up people from an emergency like some people might associate with the flying doctors, but a big part of the service is actually getting people back home again after they've had medical treatment.
Yeah, so
Really? Now that is service. That is service, folks. They don't just drop you off, they take you back home. I didn't even think about that.
2 of our 3 transports today were people that were going home. So they've not been able to
Home.
get the healthcare they need in the small country town they're from. So they have been brought down to the city, maybe as an emergency or maybe as for an elective procedure. And now we're getting them back.
They do it for elective procedures as well. That's cool. Do you have to pay if it's an elective procedure? Do you have to pay?
home again. Australia is so big that it can be really hard for these people to get back home again after their procedure when they're sort of not well enough to spend 8 hours in a car on a bumpy road. So I think it's not all the glitz and glam of emergency retrieval, but it's just as important getting people to and from essential care that they can't get in the country.
Can I
That's
just
awesome.
say, what you do is brilliant. It's
Thank you.
fantastic. I'm so humbled by like the 3 hours I spent with you so far. I really am, genuinely am. It must be a rewarding job though, right?
It is. It's a great job because you see some people have been away from home for months stuck in hospital, and when you land back in their town, they light up.
I'm just thinking in America, that would mean you have a $200,000 hospital bill on top of, all your other problems.
And they're just so happy to be home. We've had families waiting to meet us at runways before. The most rewarding days are when we bring the premature infants back to their hometown because they're well enough to come home now, and they are always really fun days and involve some baby cuddles. So.
All right, I know you're busy.
That's awesome.
We are actually in the middle of, Bruce got another patient you're sending one home, but we're actually taking someone back
Yes,
now
there's
to
someone's
Melbourne.
just arrived from the local hospital that we'll take back to Melbourne with us.
All right, I'll leave you to it. But
This is the last chance we get to have a rural landing. I don't know why. I want to see like a crazy landing. This is Mildura back to home base. Oh no, that means there's no landing. On a gravel strip.
yeah, go up the steps. All right, so we're back now at Essendon Airport. That was probably about 6 hours all up, I think, the round trip to get there and back. I just want to say big thanks to Tim.
Wow, 6 hours to get there and back. These guys work long hours, huh?
For flying us, Ruth, for looking
Because
after
that wasn't the only trip.
all the patients and me as an extra patient today. And if you've enjoyed watching this and want to find out more about the Royal Flying Doctor,
That's really cool that they let him tag along. That was really interesting. Go check out his channel. That was really cool. What an amazing service. And the fact that they take you back home, too. That is service right there. You should tip your Royal Flying Doctor crew, guys. Here in America, you'd have to pay $200,000 and then they'd hand you a screen with a tip. How did we do today? Please leave a 25% tip. Yeah. Anyway, that's awesome. I'll see you guys tomorrow.